Hello and welcome to Business Today Television. I'm Siddharth Zarabi and with me now is Nitish Mittersen, the Joint Managing Director of Nazara Technologies. Welcome Nitish. There would have been better days to have a conversation with you about the online gaming industry, but less than 24 hours after the GST Council has dealt what a lot of people are calling a killer blow to your sector, uh, tell us your first thoughts about this decision to levy a 28% GST and that too on the entire full value or the bet amount or entry value as it is called for online gaming. Nitish.
Yeah, sure. So this particular decision of the GST is in relation to the real money skill-based gaming, which has become very popular in our country and is the largest revenue driver in online gaming in India. And I think in this, this significant increase in tax or GST has some impact, or I would say significant impact on the business viability of this particular model. In my own company, Nazara, we have limited exposure of only 5% to this particular segment. So there's a minimal impact to us. But if you were to ask me from a skill-based real money gaming industry per se, there would be a much larger impact.
Okay. Let's break it down for our viewers to understand. First, earlier the taxation was at 18% on the platform fee. Now it is 28%, but on the entire bid amount. Also, the distinction between games of chance and games of skills has been done away with. Can you
Yes.
help sort of give us an example using, let's say, 100 rupees as the full value and explain what was earlier and what is going to happen now?
Sure. So in the first case, when a consumer or a player would put in 100 rupees in a game, uh, the platform would earn a 10% commission on it. So they would earn 10 rupees and a 18% GST would be paid on top of that. So let's say approximately 1.8 rupees. Now, in the new regime, on 100 rupees, you would have a GST charge of 28 rupees. So, really speaking, the 1.8 becomes 28, which, as you can see, is really a significant jump in the taxation. And what this is going to do is, the amount of winning that the consumer could win back would significantly decrease. And therefore, the incentive to play or participate in such games may reduce. We, of course, will see what happens once it is implemented, but that is what the expectation is.
There's also a 30% TCS that is already levied. So the total taxation impact or incidence now obviously goes up by that up to almost 58%. Is that correct, Nitish?
Yeah, the taxation. So just a distinction is that the GST would apply on every entry fee, which is on the every 100 rupees that is put in. The 30% TCS would be applicable only on the winning amounts, minus the entry fee. So it's
Uh,
not exactly 58%, but yeah, if you're winning, you would pay a significant amount of tax.
Okay. As a winner, that's how much you stand to pay out as tax, making that one of the largest impacts of tax incidence across any sector. One of the arguments that has been given by the government is that this sector cannot be treated at par with essential commodities which serve a mass purpose, and that is why there is a moral question involved in the decision behind hiking the tax to 28%. What is your view on that particular point?
No, I'm sure all the government officials have debated and looked at this in detail before arriving to a conclusion. So I do not want to debate on that topic. I think the only thing I can reflect on is the potential impact on the industry that could happen because of this. I do believe that India in general has a huge opportunity in the gaming market for two reasons. One is in India, you have a large consumer market now. Everyone has a mobile phone and they can, play games on their mobile phone for some entertainment, for some de-stressing, etc. And that has been growing very well, and it is becoming a very large homegrown gaming market. The second big opportunity in India is for Indian developers to use their capabilities in programming, art, game design to export world-class quality games and generate significant, I would say, export revenues for the country. So I think supporting the gaming industry is important. I do believe India has a potential to become the gaming nation of the world, and that's what we need to drive towards. And I'm very hopeful that the government will also help us along this way.
Nitish, how large is the sector in India? There are various estimates, but what's your own figure that you can tell us about the size in revenue terms, as well as the bit about employment? What kind of overall job creation has this sector led to?
I think in terms of the range of revenues, we're talking of a few $1 billion, four, five, $6 billion, kind of very difficult to put a exact number to it, because there are very different ways to look at these numbers. And in recent years, I would say there's been a boom in gaming startups significantly. While I don't have an exact count, I would say lakhs of people are definitely employed directly or indirectly in this sector in India. A lot of the youth, and that is expanding pretty rapidly.
Okay, what happens from here on now? Is there a chance of some sort of rethink, or is it now for players like you? And you pointed out that for you the exposure to this business is not that significant, but for others it might be entirely their entire business model. What will happen from here on?
I think the industry is coming together to discuss, debate, and figure out quickly what is the best way to react to this. There are some very active gaming organizations like the AIGF. So some of these are pulling together and pushing harder. IAMI is also getting involved. So I think some of these will take a lead in trying to have a cohesive response on how we can mitigate the challenges posed by this development.
Uh, why has the GST Council decided to do away with the distinction as far as tax was concerned between games of chance and games of skill, and what really is this distinction that existed so far?
So the distinction really was that if a game is predominantly a game of skill, right, that you win because you have a better skill, then it does not fall into the gambling laws. And that was a distinction, which has been the long-standing distinction. But I think what's happened, at least in yesterday's meeting, is that a call has been taken that as far as the taxation is concerned, they don't wish to make this distinction.
Okay, and what kind of impact would this lack of a distinction now have as far as the growth of the online gaming sector is concerned?
Yeah, again, like I will say, right, there is a sub-segment which is a skill-based real money gaming segment of online gaming. Online gaming comprises of many segments. It could be games for kids, it could be esports, it could be, a variety of different sub-segments, out of which one of them is the skill-based real money gaming, where you put in money in a game, prospect to win money back using your skill. I think that is a sector which is going to be impacted and significantly impacted by this decision. And I think it's difficult to again put a number that it's 70%, 50%, or 80% impact, but you can be well assured it's a significant impact.
Nitish, is there a chance that this kind of part of the overall gaming industry, in e-gaming industry in India, will sort of go underground, or move overseas, as we have seen, for example, with regard to even crypto to some extent? Do you see that happening?
There are already a lot of underground players or global players who operate in India, and obviously, this could be a short-term boost for them, without doubt. But I also do know that the Ministry of IT is putting in a lot of processes to kind of, stop these unregulated players from operating in the market. So hopefully, over the next few months, you will also see a lot more action, curbing those activities.
All right, and it's very clear that this is a decision that the industry is coming to grips with. It was many months in the making. The decision by the GST Council had been sort of in the works for well over 2 years now, and finally, now that the government and through the body of State and Union Finance Minister has decided to do this. It's clearly a time for significant readjustment for the online gaming sector, because with this kind of a tax incidence, whether the sector will continue to see the amount of interest that it has in the past will be a big question mark. Nitish Mitra Sen, thank you very much for your time with us today and for explaining the key takeaways of this move. We'll be back with more. Do stay tuned in. Back after just a short break.
We have exclusively learned from our sources that Centre has collected close to rupees 55,000 crore under small savings schemes collection for Q1. In fact, if you remember the mop-up, then the fresh mop of May 2023. Now, government, of course, credits to the fact of the restructuring of the scheme that has helped them get as many as new accounts as possible. In fact, some data to also bring in, as per sources, about 6.52 lakh new accounts have been created in the last 3 months, and if you compare this with the Q1 numbers of last year, they were at 2.96 lakhs, so it is almost double the accounts that have been created under the small savings scheme. The Department of Expenditure is also looking to, of course, further up these numbers in the coming days by restructuring the scheme for the benefit of people who are a part of this.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.